Good morning, everyone. Well, we got a turnaround day yesterday, which, of course, was at support. Buyers showed up there again. Now is the time where they have to really prove it. Yesterday was the relatively easy day, if you will. Um, Once it got going over that resistance area that we covered, it took a little while. But as you can see, looking at the hourly chart, it's a bit clearer. It's given back a lot of those gains already. So, we can now initially, let's just move up this support point around here to 3210-ish. And it really needs to hold right around here. Um, Ideally, it wouldn't go back down here if it was that strong. And in reality, if it was that strong, it wouldn't even be where it is right now. Um, but, it had that nasty turn last Thursday and pulled back to support a deep retracement. And so now, depending on how today ends, meaning the buyers step up here and at this support point and then push it back up and this get a green day and push back up to the pre-market high. And or does it stay weak? Now, if it stays weak and retraces a bit further, let's just say it gets down into this area and closes down there, well, that picture historically points to a measured move. And we talked yesterday about the void that's below, which it's saved. It held. It was chopping around there. We looked at that yesterday, and then it came up, and we know what happened. So if it goes back down there, and what we're looking at is if we were to get a red bar that retraces deeply into this prior reversal from yesterday, and then we'll see on Wednesday if it breaks there, then that's going to open up the door to moving all the way down here. So right now we're still in that neutral area. So turn day, some profit taking, the deep move down. So not unusual to have some selling here at the moment. We'll see how it unfolds. But right now we're just kind of still drifting. That's the way it is. Got the topping tail from last week. Not so sure what kind of, if we're going to get the turn yet. We need to see what's going to happen here. This will be a clue today. And it was just so much chop lately. It's a little, you can get frustrated, or, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. There are stocks that are moving, but, we do get some moves intraday, trading the futures here. But we will need these ranges to expand and some trending to begin to really get some real moves out of them. Anyway, Qs, they were the leader yesterday. They had the biggest void up above. And is the spiders in an uptrend on the 60-minute? He asked. No, is it making higher highs and higher lows? No, it's not in an uptrend. It popped to a new high over here. It broke through major support. It broke through major support, came down to, same thing that we looked at the future. So it broke through multiple levels and just stopped where it needed to. So I could argue that this is actually based on the break of two prior pivot lows, that it's in a downtrend. So, it's retraced up to where sellers should show up and roll back over. So we'll see. So I was looking, we're going to do this on the NQs, but because it had the bigger bar, that's up. You see this pivot low down here, major support. But the momentum is slowing down in the deep retracement. So we're not so sure yet what's going to happen. The Qs got the biggest down move last week when it couldn't get through the high. So we got an M top and it came down and just tickled under that pivot low. So that's no longer in an uptrend. And now it's retraced about to the middle of the wide range bar, so the move off of the low is acceptable within this down move to say the down move is still intact. So looking at a scenario like this, and you say, well, who's in control here? Well, higher highs and higher lows, buyers are in control. Starts to move sideways, we're not so sure. Right? It's kind of evened out, so to speak, but you've got a big red topping tail, and then you've got a big green bar up, and then a nasty move to the downside. So say sellers are taking control. Are they in full control here? Not yet, right? So the battle lines are drawn. And so can buyers regain their footing here is the question. So they had a decent day yesterday, which is a start, but they didn't turn things around to say, they've got it back, and on their side. They would have to get and close up to here. And either way, it just goes from a bias of neutral to bearish to, if it was to retrace to the top of the red bar, to being neutral to bullish. So we're basically kind of in no man's land, so to speak, just, based on what the markets are doing here, right? So we'll see, it popped up nicely, which, as of yesterday, the idea was, okay, I see that 50% area that, we talk about. But what's to the left? Absolutely nothing. So what's going to stop it from going all the way up there? Well, as of yesterday, absolutely nothing. So at this point, it's retracing back toward minor support over here, where buyers should step up somewhere in this area, and that's what they're doing. So now we need to see, can they actually make the turn? And so that's what we'll be watching on the cues. Overall, we've just got sideways sloppy mess here. You've got a weekly chart with a red bar and then a topping tail bar, and so far just a neutral bar at the bottom of the range. So nothing to get excited about either way. Now here, there's more of a problem, right, which has been the weaker. You had the green day yesterday. It held the converging 20 and 200. These are simple moving averages. You see it's lined up with that minor support point in this pivot, and now it's coming back in again. Right? McDonald's is down a little bit. But the takeaway pretty much today, as far as these neutral trends that we have at the moment, is to see whether today turns around and we get a green bar up, which is, okay, we can go up to where? Well, not too far. Really not too big a deal either way. But if we get a red bar that closes relatively, let's say even a bit deeper or down at the bottom of this green bar, the bias is going to be a trade under that bar's low and look for it to come down here. And so we'll have that to varying degrees in these markets. Right? We don't know where this one will end, but it had the larger move down, so it had the larger move up. So relative to the move up, it's really nothing to get excited about either. Now, if this was to give back the majority of yesterday's gains, obviously that would be bearish. So we'll just see how far this goes. Right here, as mentioned, buyers are trying to hold it. Right? It's a technical spot, so buyers are there. So far, it's going sideways, and I guess we'll know in a half hour or so. And Russell, sideways, went up yesterday, slopping around. So far, just another neutral day here. Nothing to get excited about. Bonds churning up there at resistance. They had this nice pop over here, and you can see where they're at on the weekly chart. So, boy, another one not to get excited about. It's getting pretty boring. Things have to pop here somewhere around this time, I hope. And another neutral chart going sideways. Right? Look at oil. Look at those candle bodies there. They're like little dojis or whatever. The opens and closes are the same. Look at this one. It's a topping tail the same, but it didn't go lower. Little nothing week, a nothing week, a nothing week, and the start of so far a nothing week. Looking at the broader markets, would you say that money is in transportation for intraday today? Well, transports were holding up. Okay, that's a decent looking chart. There's small bars, and you've got this green day. I don't know. This doesn't trade pre-market, so I don't know what this is going to do. But you can now go and look at airlines and truckers, and we talked about JBT yesterday. That had a green day intraday, and then it was a topping tail later in the day. So we'll see if that actually turns around. You look at the rails. So this is a decent looking chart. It's regained the 200 MA and it's going sideways. So with this pattern, if it trades above yesterday's high, it's supposed to go up. And we've got these other markets that are obviously questionable, which we covered. So I'm not so sure. I mean, that's one of the better looking charts, and it has been in the past, but it just can't get out of its own way, the same as everything else. Gold, this was expected. It ran up, where it was yesterday. The trend is still up. When things get a little ahead of themselves like that, obviously they're going to consolidate profit taking. But, look, based on printing trillions of dollars out of air, I don't think gold's going to stop going up, So will it pull back and consolidate here and chop around for a while? Historically, that's exactly what it would do. I think it'll just be a resting period before going higher. And silver, right, same story. Things get moving too far. People take the money. It's normal. But you look at the longer term charts here. We'll go to the monthly charts, and we talked about the fact that this hit that resistance area, but this is coming out of a multi-year base. So sure, it got a little extended, and now it's going to get whippy as it reconsolidates, and it's got to get tightened up like that again, or something like that. And this has got a giant void, so it's a wait and see. It's a wait and see. This is the hard part of holding on to something. Where you have a belief that it can continue to go higher. Right. Initiate small gold long. What for? I mean, I'm saying that because to initiate a medium-sized long would have been down here. Right? Now that it's all the way up here, I mean, if you want to put a trade on so that it's in your minder and you're looking at it every day as a feeler kind of thing, yeah, go ahead. So you don't forget about it. That I understand. Something so that it's in your minder, you're watching it every day. That's something that becomes a forced discipline, if you will. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I silver or gold. SLB. They're both going to come in a little bit. I would buy them. I think silver probably has the bigger potential, but gold is the one that's going to get more focus. I mean, if it's just a trade of having it in a minder, I would do them both. Why choose? Do them both. You'll constantly be watching to see how's one performing versus the others at support resistance. And at this point, putting on a position is not directly about I'm going to make money in the short term. It's about, okay, this is going to be something that I'm going to focus on because I believe that it's going to continue to go higher. My bias today, Ludwig, is neutral. Totally neutral. Yesterday, as we covered, was down near support, so it made sense that buyers would step up there. And so now that it's had that day, it's really up to them to lose this control. So, earnings reports coming out, monster earnings coming out tomorrow night, Thursday. You got Fed talking. So there you have it. Spreads would be fine, sure. It's unlikely you're going to get big moves one way or the other. Right? All yours, Dan.
Yeah, and don't forget about Congress fighting over stimulus number 5.
How much money they're going to get for their family and friends.
Yep. It's I don't know, I totally don't want to talk politics, but it's more just a shock of the amount of dollars that they've been throwing around here. We've already ballooned the deficit another 3 trillion.
Come on, Dan. We love to talk politics and trash the politicians.
And all Trump wanted was 5 billion for his wall. And no way, they wouldn't give him a penny, but they throw around trillions.
Hey, Dan, those scarves that Nancy wears, those things are worth probably 10 grand a piece.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, wait a minute. Those are masks. They're not scarves. All
right. So we have a number of call spreads in the weekly options trader. So the gap down is good. And in that sense, we need the melting ice cube. We need the highs to be in place. Everything looks fine. So again, I'm not going to go over any opens right now unless I have time, unless you ask me a question on them. CMI, McGraw mentioned. Yeah, my eye, whenever I look at a chart, it's like a magnet of where my eye goes to, of the most compelling pattern. I mean, this was actually what we call a bull gap surprise, wide range ending, gapped deep into that. But what caught my eye, McGraw, was this buy setup right here. A gap breakout, pull back, reversal on the 20. And so you say it's gapping up now, which it is. We can watch the cousins, sure. But this one's too extended for me. But cousins, sure. Tesla, Bernstein's giving it a downgrade. I mentioned 2 days ago that, that was a bearish gap from a topping pattern, that if you were in this long term, I would be concerned. Fran, I have no idea. I didn't check the news. I don't know what is getting her doubling pre-market, more than double here. I don't know. This trip, I just saw this on the ticker. No, I'm sorry. This was one from our yesterday trip. Looked good as a breakout trade, but why I wrote it down again was, and I don't know the difference of these two companies. TCOM, it said trip something or other. So, it is a merger. But then how come TCOM is gapping up and Trip is not? So that I just don't understand. But this gap is too big also, got no interest. Tesla's gone. Trip, SPPI, bullish gap up, but too big for me. William Jimenez is asking about Nugget gap short. Maybe maybe a day trade. I mean, these things are getting extended. So that's a sell setup, pre-market at resistance. I wouldn't as a swing, but yeah, day trade. Just put them in a 5 or 15 minute chart, see how they set up. I don't like the way this thing trades at all, but it's a bullish gap up here. Oh, that's Kodak. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. That's Meds. The stupid trade station jumps around here. I don't like the way Meds trades. Well, it didn't triple overnight. It tripled pre-market. And they're in the news. Something the government's having them making vaccine now, something or other.
$795 million to develop drugs that China is now making. They're probably going to do it on a copy machine.
I was going to say, why go to somebody who blew out their business model, not keeping up with digital cameras? Yeah, I don't get that. MNOV, that was a rocket ship yesterday. Now it's a bearish gap, 50% into the real body. I don't know what to do with it. Oh, there's TCOM again. This is on our list from yesterday, but see, I don't know if this was earnings or what, but this is the overnight risk that you take. And I think we went home yesterday saying, yeah, let's buy the highs today. So we didn't have overnight gap risk. Gapping down to 41 bucks is a bearish gap. So you are now off my chart. These are all earnings now, Zebra. I only see one print at 280. We'll come back to you. Xerox, that's a big old mess. Wab will come back. There's no volume. No volume. Alex, you're Sherwin-Williams. Look at that gap in all-time highs. I guess, you know, the ITB sector has been very strong. Look at this, ITB. Housing sector, low interest rates. This gapped up. I don't like the daily, but if it maybe were to give you a double bottom, then it could be a day trade. We'll come back. There's no volume. We'll come back. Highs are up. No pattern. Maybe put spread. MSCI, no volume. Wow, we got to come back to all these. There's no volume. Philip Morris gapping to the prior high. So no pattern. Triple M getting whacked here, 158. All right, so it's gapping right here to the 20, right in the middle of a range. So this could be a condor setup. We'll see. Hey Zeke, your drop down. Zeke says, oh, there he is. Gap up on earnings. The problem is it's a gap and crap on the 15-minute chart. It is a bullish gap, but you know, you got to wait for a setup, a pullback. Now this doesn't look bad. If Millennium here is opening at 231 and change, and there's not a lot of volume, so it's really can't count on it. I'm putting that right here because then it's a bullish gap out of this that's not too excessive. So that's the best gapper I've seen so far today. McDonald's 198, 30-minute low. Could be a call spread candidate for Friday. Lima Whiskey was, we'll come back to you. LH gapping up. That's a controlled, that's a bullish gap, and that's just a controlled strength. Your bottoming tail was a small correction. I mean, it's strong, but just still too extended for me. JetBlue. Earnings, it's in a coma, doing nothing, but airlines and cruise ships were weak yesterday. And some of the junk sectors started selling off, hotels and restaurants again. 1050, I would have loved this one to gap up to 11 bucks. And then we would just buy a 5-minute high, because that would be a beautiful, beautiful gap breakout. But it's gapping down a little bit. We'll come back to you. CXO, McGraw. Maybe 30-minute high, but you know, you hear me say if there's no volume, that's hard to tell. BDX too extended for me, but strong. Ken, Microsoft's near our stop? Let me check. I find that hard to believe looking at the daily. Because we covered half. Okay, so this one, we are not in danger. This one's to protect our gains. So you scared me there thinking that it was going to be ugly. But no, look, we already covered half at 20 cents and I tightened the stop to protect the gains. So that's fine. I mentioned airlines were weak yesterday. Look, I'm watching Boeing here. I always watch Boeing. 15-minute chart. That looks like another great day trade short right here. Look, that is a bearish. It's extended, but look, it had a bounce, had a bigger bounce, bearish pre-market, bearish daily, cracking all kinds of support here, descending triangle. We also shorted CCL yesterday as a day trade. Right there, that was a beautiful, and now it's obviously not what's called a late day breakdown because we shorted it in the morning. But look at that beautiful short. So we shorted this and Boeing, I think, at the same time. All right, I'll just continue here. I'll let the market bobble around for a few minutes. IT, see, look at Millennium. See, McGraw? See what I said? You can't count on that one little tick. So you just totally have to ignore that. And now Millennium's going to the downside. JR and YouTube's asking about Restoration Hardware. Yeah, we actually put on a put spread yesterday, but it looks higher, sure. You know, we obviously like to trade with the broader market bias too. And with the market iffy right now, I wouldn't be in a rush, but yeah, over yesterday's high or 30-minute high, it looks higher as a directional. This would be a fantastic 1, 2, 3 if we can get it for tomorrow. Hog. It's gapping from an M top. That's bearish. Put that on your short watch list and bear call credit spread watch. Look at that. If it closes right there, that's a 1, 2, 3. Although we like 1, 2, 3s from consolidation better. That's still very bullish. It went sideways for a couple days. Red bar ignored. Price void on the weekly. That Corning looks good. ECL, that's a bearish gap. So yeah, this was actually on our long watch list.